Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our Oracle Primavera Cloud webinar today. We've only got a short amount of time. I believe we've clocked in at 45 minutes. There's an awful lot to cover, so I am going to push on with that. So we'll talk a little bit about, just very quickly, about who TechModal are, the problem we're going to be talking about, how OPC, Oracle Primavera Cloud, provides that solution, and hopefully we'll have a little time for questions. I've had 2 questions in already, so we'll answer those as we go along. So TechModal is a UK company trading for over 15 years now with 116 employees. I checked this morning. We are Oracle partners providing recognised expertise in delivery of project management information solutions, of which Oracle Primavera Cloud, OPC, is one. Also with things like Primavera P6, Unify, etc. And we enable clients to make improved data-driven decisions. That's our mission. So across the P3M organisation within TechModal, there's a number of things we provide. We provide the license sales, so application sales through partnerships, that's all Oracle licensing. The implementation of those licenses, so we specialise in the implementation of P3M solutions, so the ones we've talked about, best practice configuration, optimisation of those licenses as well. Technical support, so once the product is standing up, we provide support to those licenses as well. So we provide our own internal help desk. Application training, so training on those products, so training of OPC is available. And competency consultancy is people delivering the specific P3M skills, so that might be planning and scheduling, risk management, or general business consultancy, business advice. Just a quick look at some of our clients there. We've done quite a bit of work across all of those. So defence, construction, oil and gas, renewable energy. Hopefully you'll see some names there you recognise. So the problem we're looking at today is that there is multiple systems that are available for lots of different users. So you might be using P6 for scheduling, you might be using PRA or other risk licenses for risk management. You might be using exporting data out into reporting tools. So that's a problem. You've got to maintain all of those. So OPC is one solution. So lots of time spent on collaborating, time spent on collating management information. If you've got all the information in one system, literally in one tool, then that makes management information not just easy to produce, but instantaneous. Custom integrations. If you've got a lot of applications doing a lot of different, providing a lot of different functionality and processes, integrating between those tools is difficult, sometimes not possible. And there's a lot of time spent on keeping those up and running. OPC having all those bits of functionality within it means there is no custom integrations there. That's not to say that you can't do integrations out to other Oracle products, but we will talk about that a little bit later on. And application infrastructure support. OPC is provided on Oracle Cloud. So you have the gold standard of Oracle Cloud technology, Oracle applications on top of that. Internally within your organization, you do not have to support that infrastructure. So it's a straight out of the box SaaS product. So OPC provides one source for PPM, gold standard Oracle Cloud technology, enabling a much faster return on investment than traditional on-premise solutions. I'm sure there's a number of people, myself as one of them, who have worked on these projects which can last sort of up to sort of 12, 18 months, sometimes longer on the traditional on-premise solution. Sometimes that is the only option, but it does take a long time to get a ROI. Comprehensive coverage of all stages of the project life cycle, providing portfolio, schedule, resource, risk, lean, task, cost, scope, and file management. So it provides a lot of functionality and taking a lot of the best parts of some of the Oracle toolset that's already available and making it available in one solution. Gives your organization real-time visibility into project cost, schedule, risk, and performance information with dashboards and reports served to both desktop and mobile applications. I'll mention that a little bit later on. We've had a question about different types of licenses. Enables a seamless, secure, collaborative environment for multi-organization project teams. And this is one of the key things we're finding with our clients at the moment, is where they are a number of partners working together on construction projects, on infrastructure projects, on engineering and renewable energy projects. You'll have numerous organizations working together. What OPC provides is one solution for everybody. You provide them with access via email, and you can all log into your own area within the tool, and you can configure the tool to whatever level of security you need. Enables project managers and stakeholders to make the right decisions at the right time. It's all that data in one place. And this is a straight out of the box. This is not configuring tools to provide that. This is there as we start. So we'll jump into OPC now. Okay, so logging into Oracle Cloud, pretty straightforward. As you can see, it's pretty fast. I'm going to be jumping around quite a bit today, but we will cover all the main aspects. So first of all, on our homepage, you get all the most frequently used links down the left-hand side that enables you to jump to different parts of the application. Those are customized for your own specific rights. So as the system or application administrator, I get access to do whatever I like. And for the purposes of this demo, obviously that makes it a lot easier to show you everything I need. You can configure each of the users to have different sets of access, much like any tool you would have used previously. And I'll cover those towards the end of this session. So, numerous things in here. We've got the training center, so you've got training for the application built in. So I can go and see the fundamentals, administration if I'm a system administrator, schedule management, lean scheduling, and there's also some exams you can pass in there so that you can track how your organization is learning the tool and using the tool. The search box at the top, very useful. Let's just put that in there. Let's see if I can find myself. There we go. So you can search across lots of different aspects of the tool. So I'm looking for, obviously, David, any users beginning with David. I've got myself there. I can see all the things that I've been up to this morning and all the different projects I'm following. The purpose of me showing you this is that I want to just let you know that you can follow parts of the system. So by doing that, I get any news or any updates on any of these particular projects. So if things are starting to slip, things are moving around, people are working on them, completing activities, I can get updates on those within my inbox. So I can see in my activities and my news feed, I get information that I want to see. Timesheets. Timesheet availability is there. So it's much like if you've used Team Member previously, you can buy separate timesheet licenses. I believe they're working out at about $12 per user per month at the moment. And in that, you can assign people to activities and people can book time to those activities. You can mark them off as billable or non-billable activities. And that answers another of the questions. Can you separate out between billable and non-billable work in timesheets? And yes, you can. So you can pull that information out into your accountancy processes as well. So there is one solution for all aspects. So timesheets are available. Okay, so that's just some of the basic functionality here. If you've used P6 Web before, you've got a preferences section, which is much like the preferences or user preferences in P6 Professional as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at in the selector here is the workspaces. So workspaces are much like the enterprise project structure in P6. It forms a set of folders that you can configure to allow people access to, and you can provide different levels of access to them. You can provide different information, different projects within them, different portfolios, programs, etc. I'm going to be looking at the waste management area today. So this is a folder that I have access to within the system. Within that folder, we have all of our projects, any programs that are set up, any portfolios. Okay. So we're going to have a look at one of our projects today, which is the building decommissioning project. At the workspace homepage, we've got different levels or different parts, different bits of information. We have our resources list for that particular area of the business. Something I will touch on a lot more later on is that you can have different resource dictionaries for different folders. So different resource dictionary for this part of the business. Within P6, you're used to having one resource dictionary across the entire set of projects. That's not the case in OPC. You can have it, one set of resources for all, but you have the option of having a resource dictionary just for one area of the business. That's very useful, and we'll come on to why that might be later on. Okay, so we're going to open up the building decommissioning project. You'll see there's different selections here for the project. I've got risk management in here. We'll cover that later on. I'm going to have a look at the schedule analysis and schedule activities in here. So those users of Primavera P6 will recognize a lot of what we're looking at on screen here. We have the standard scheduling engine from P6. So we've got our activities, the standard scheduling calculations, all of that is pulled straight from P6 and brought into OPC. Much like P6, you have the ability to create layouts. So we've got different sets of layouts for all users in the workspace. We can have our own personal layouts as well, and they're very easy to configure. In fact, I always think that the P6 web is a lot easier to use in terms of creating layouts than P6 Professional, in that you have everything in one place. So if I'm looking for a particular folder like remaining labour units, I can just type it into the search field here and it narrows it down automatically. I've got remaining labour units and I can just add that in and save that to my layout. Just to go back into there quickly, everything in one place, so all the aspects of grouping, different colors and themes, sorting, the bars, the Gantt chart, everything is stored within the one view rather than having to go into different parts of the application or different parts of the window. So we've got our remaining labour units in there now. Okay, another thing you'll notice here is the discussion field. You can hide or show this. So I've got the option here to show the discussion indicator. And this is something that is becoming more common and well, has been for quite a while, but for users of the more traditional P3M products, this has only started just to come in. The ability to have discussion, just click on that there, have discussion on these activities. So it works much like any other tool where you comment and you can comment on things, put links into things, and that stores the information against the activities. You can choose, of course, to hide those if you want when you're doing printouts, but that sort of functionality is becoming more and more common, and it just brings in that idea of a highly collaborative approach. While I'm here, before I'll just close that down, the comments box, the help field. So whenever you need help on anything in particular, you just click on the little question mark here and you can search for help in there as well. So you just either click on something to search for it, or you can drill down into the options that you've got. Okay, helpful to have. Okay, so I'm not going to dwell too much on that. It's the same great engine you got in P6. So I'm sure that's been discussed many times previously. When it comes to creating projects, so I've gone back into the home page. I'm going back into the home page of building decommissioning project. I can go back up a level to the folder level, which is waste management. And this is where I can create my new project. You can add projects and you can create projects based on templates if you want to. So if you've got a set of templates you want to use, you can pull those in and use those and make sure that people are using them. cancel that for now. Okay. One of the things that's useful at this stage to note is the ability to create workflows and forms. So this is very different to standard planning tools, but brings in some of the aspects of Primavera Unifier. So what these are is the flows for creating, in this case, creating new ideas. So you can build up a process with a set of forms to get people to fill in the right information to create those new ideas. So in this one, you can see here you've got different steps, and associated with each of those is different forms. So if we have a quick look at the form design, you can see here that you build up a series of forms that go along with these processes, and that's how it works. We're not going to go into it in too much detail here. As you can see, there's an awful lot of things that I need to cover today. So this will probably be one that we look at in more detail at a later stage in another webinar. Okay. So I go back into my schedule now. So I can just go back on to the Beadling decommissioning project. And I'll have a look at the baseline functionality. So you can create baselines and store baselines at the project level. There are 3 different types of baselines. You have the original baseline, current baseline, and any supplementary baselines as well. So those work much in the same way as user baselines. So you have that baseline functionality there. You also have the ability to create scenarios, much like the what if scenarios in P6. So any scenarios that I want to create in here, you can do so by creating them, such as this. So I'm just going to do a very basic one, a reduction in time. And I can see here that I am now working in a scenario, and just do a very basic change to some of the activities, just to bring the duration down, schedule the plan. And I've created a scenario based on reducing some of the time. Okay. I can now do schedule comparisons. So when you've got baselines and scenarios, what you're able to do is very simply in the schedule comparison area is pick one of these. So I can say, show me from the current schedule, I want to compare it to one of my baselines or scenarios that I've just created. Click the compare button, and it shows me the difference in variance. It can show me the difference in start dates of activities, finish dates of activities, and obviously if you've got cost in there as well, you can have a look at the cost implications. So it's really simple to do schedule comparison and do what if scenarios. I think that functionality is really quite good. Okay, let's go back up to the waste management level. So we've had a look there. We've got some of the scheduling work from P6. We've got that there. We've got a bit of the unifier workflow design. We've had a very quick look at that. That's available. Just going to have a look very quickly at some of the portfolio analysis that we've got here as well. So we've got a portfolio with a number of projects in, and we're just going to have a look at 2 of the options here. First of all, we'll have a look at the scorecard on portfolio analysis. I think I probably opened the wrong one there. Jeez. Look at the UK waste projects there. Trying to find one from the demonstration that has enough information to show you something useful. Here we go. Okay, so a scorecard is much like what you get built up for you in Primavera Analytics. So you have a list of all your projects, your portfolio level goals, strategic goals, performance goals. All this can be built into the system, and you can see things like the remaining budget. And by clicking through onto the charts, this might be a little bit out of date, you can see remaining budget trends over time. And if you need to see what the measurement definitions are, you can see that by clicking on that button in there. You can go backwards in time as well to see actual budgets, etc. So that's some of the information you get at the scorecard level. All of this is configurable. You can build them yourself, or you can get some of that straight out of the box. And I'll have a quick look at the prioritization matrix as well that goes alongside this. So once again, this is something that we've configured to show you. So environmental quality and the measurements that go alongside that for each of the different projects. So I can go in there, say it may improve something, it changes the evaluation score of the project. So you can build up a set of measurements so you can actually prioritize the work that's due to be coming through or the work that's ongoing based on what your organization wants to look at. So that's some of the OPPM stuff that's coming through into OPC as well. I'm just going to cancel that. Okay, so we've had a look at the portfolio elements very quickly there. We're going to have a look at the risk elements that we've got. So I'll go back into building decommissioning. So risk can be stored at the portfolio level, at the project level, and we're just going to have a look in here. So a risk register, having a risk register in the same tool as your scheduling always made a lot of sense to me. P6 does have risk capabilities. It's not something that many organizations have used for risk registers, some do. But I think that what OPC adds in with the ability to do Monte Carlo risk analysis puts it streets ahead of a lot of the planning applications that do any form of risk registers. So the ability. Sorry, 1 second, I'm just checking something on the audio. Okay. Okay. The risk section here. This is where we can store our risks and store pre and post response likelihoods, probabilities, etc. You can build those in using the risk matrix that you built against the project. You can store those against the activities. Okay, so we've stored that in. We can run risk analysis. We'll come back to that in a moment. But before that, we can apply uncertainty to our activities. So we can do the Monte Carlo risk analysis. So just a straight out of the box bit of functionality. We can apply uncertainty to activities. So what we're doing here is saying that we're going to set a minimum, most likely, a maximum duration for all our activities. And we're going to base it on the remaining duration. So the minimum it's likely to be is 90% of the remaining duration. The most likely is 100, the maximum is 130%. So it's going to put those min, likely, maximum information into the schedule. You don't have to manually go through and do it. You can, of course, do that if you want to, but this is a very quick way of doing that. So I'm just going to overwrite any of the existing values I've got and apply that. I get a little message popping up here saying applying uncertainty completed successfully. And after that, I can then run the risk analysis. Just having a look at the advanced options here. Does it provide the same amount of capability as a product such as Primavera Risk Analysis or ARM or Risk Hive? No, it doesn't. But does every user of those products use 100% of the functionality? I would wager probably not. This provides the most useful parts of functionality that you would want to see. Okay, so I'm just going to run a risk analysis here. I've got a maximum of 1,000 iterations. Takes a few seconds to run that. We've got some configured fields in there that it's doing some calculations for, and we've received notification risk analysis is completed successfully. So I'll click OK. And then I'm going to have a look at the risk analysis. So distribution results. Let's start with duration. So I can see here that the deterministic is 655 days for the project. So optimistically, or the P10 is set to 699. That's interesting. P50 733, and the pessimistic or P90 at 771. Okay, so you have those P10, P50, P90. That's right straight out of the box. Ability to do that. Very simple to do. You can also produce the information based on cost, and you've got start and finish dates as well. So currently we're saying deterministic of 2nd of October, optimistically we've got 3rd of December. So it's already providing me some interesting information there. Okay, so risk analysis straight out of the box, I think that's really good. Have a look at the reports very quickly. So the reports are based on BI Publisher. We can pull reports in. They're very easy to create. They're a lot easier to create than in P6 if you've ever used those. I'm just going to have a look at the project risk responses. By clicking on that, it takes you into the editor view, and it's built up on main subject areas and supporting subject areas. So I'm looking, the main area is risks. Do I want any time phase information? Not in this instance, because it's just a very simple risk report. And in the supporting area, what do we want to see? Well, we want to see the response actions for those risks. It might be you want to see the cost impact, the activities that are associated with it as well. Okay, then you can pick and add fields as you need to, or add columns. Okay, I'm just going to click preview to have a very quick look at that in its current formatting, and you can see there we've got something we need to sort out with the IDs, maybe spread that out a bit, response description, and you've got the information pulled through from the database. So very simple to produce, very useful, quick reports. These can be set up to automatically create PDFs, etc. So the report functionality is very straightforward. You can set a default output format as well. We've got PDF set for this one as well. Straightforward to do. Okay. We'll have a look at resources next, as it's just down here on the left-hand side. All of these icons that appear take you to different parts of the data set you're currently looking at. So I'm looking at building decommissioning at the moment, which is in waste management. So I'm going to look at the resources list for this project. So these are all the resources that I've got within the project. I can see they are stored or owned by waste management. So all of those are stored within waste management. So if I click on that, it takes me to the waste management level here, and I can see that those resources are there. If I go up to a different level, let's say we go to, let's have a look, production environment. So I go straight up to the production environment, and I can see we don't actually have any resources held at that level. The resources that we were just looking at were just for that waste management part of the workspace structure. If I wanted to, I could hold them all at the top level and throw them all down, but you don't have to. And that's some added functionality, which I think will be very useful for a lot of our clients. Okay, just something on the search functionality here. I can type in and it automatically filters down. I think that functionality is really nice in the web interface. Okay, so that's a bit on the resources list there. We have also got resource analysis as well. So you get the histogram views and the graph views. I've not configured this for this particular demonstration though, but it's the same as P6 Web. So we're going to have a look at the files section now. So let's go back into the project and we'll have a look at files. Okay, so at the moment we don't have any files that are available to this project. So there's a number of things here. So this is a tool which hopefully, once I show you this, will provide for a group of organizations working on within the same tool set. It provides a really useful, really good file management system that everyone can access. There's a number of things that we can do here. At a project level, we can bring in templates. So we might have a set of project files that we want our projects to be able to use, say a set of templates, and I'm going to bring those in now. Might take a minute or so to drag those in. I'll get a little message when that's available, and I can just reload the screen to actually see those files. Obviously, they're not in there yet. You can manually add files as well. So if we've got documents or images that we want to add in, I'm just going to bring in a picture here, an image that we got from the project. And I can click on that. And that's the image that we've got that someone's taken from the site. It might be that I want to raise a question on something. I say, hang on a second. What's this we're using? I might have a question about the brand of fire alarm that's being used. It might not be one that I recognize, and I can annotate the image. Any annotations get stored on here. If another user comes in and sees, okay, they want to have more information on what brand it is, I can put that information in there, and I can put a link in to show them that as well. Okay, so you can do that with images. You can also do that with files as well. So the file management system is really good. I'm just going to add in this document here. If I click on that, I can see it's just a very basic bit of information just for the purposes of this demonstration. But what you've also got the ability to do is check in and check out documentation. So I'm going to check that documentation out. It says that other users won't be able to use it. That's fine. And if I open up that document, I can make some changes to it. There we go. And I'm just going to save it to the correct space. Okay, so I've made changes to the document. And then when I come to check it back in, it's going to ask me to upload the file that I've made the changes to. If I look in versions now, we can see that we've got a number of versions. So if I click on version number 1, it's got the original version. If I click on version number 2, we've got the changes that I've made there. And again, I can put some annotations on it if I want, if I'm reviewing it. And I can choose whether or not to show or hide the different annotations. We don't have any there at the moment. So that's our version control on file management. I think that's really useful. I think that's some added functionality you certainly don't get with a lot of the other tools. I'm still waiting for those other files to come through from the template. Might pop back on that later. Okay, dashboards. We'll have a quick look at the dashboards in here. Dashboards are again very similar to what you will have seen in Primavera Analytics. You build those based on the projects that projects, portfolios, etc. that you have within the system, and you can do those and create numerous of those, make them available to different people. I can see here that I've got 10 risks, project high level status. I might want to have a look at that information. Clicking on the button takes me on to the risks for that particular project and that particular dashboard that we were looking at. So those dashboards that you can be created can be made available to some people, all people, 1 or 2 individuals, etc. You can include, as we have done here, a map viewer based on the project's location. Okay, so that's a lot of the functionality we've seen that is based on Analytics, Unifier, OPPM, and P6. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to have a look at the summaries and settings. So I'm going to go back up to my workspace level, which was the waste management. And we're going to have a look at summaries and settings in here. Okay. So summaries and settings can be set at the individual level. We don't have any put in specifically for this one at the moment. So I can allow people to have different sets of access to projects, portfolios, reports, files, etc. But I'm going to go back down to the global admin now to show you how we've done it for our instance here. So it can be done at the individual level. The permission sets, you'll have seen a lot of things if you've administered any of the Oracle Primavera systems before. They work in a very similar way. You have different sets of permissions for different areas of the application, and you create a group of users. So I've got workspace managers. So this might be the waste management managers. They have the ability to do certain actions within the tool. Add, edit, delete timesheets in this instance. So that's at the global level. If I drill down into projects, we might have different sets of users here. So a scheduler can do certain things to the project schedule. So I can see here that for our schedulers, we haven't enabled the global change functionality. But it might be that we want them to, of course, be able to create, edit, and edit baselines. We haven't given the ability to delete baselines. So that ability to really customize how people can access the system is built in there. Once you've created the permission sets, you then create the groups of users. So whenever we have Oracle connecting to our database, I've given them certain sets of access to all the different areas of the business. So for projects, I've given them administrator level, files, and so on and so forth. So you can set for a group of users a different set of permissions for each of those areas of the tool. Okay. Back into building decommissioning now. I'm just going to look at the summaries and settings here. So the settings that you will have seen previously in P6 are the same within here. So the new activity default, duration type, percent complete, etc. That's all still there. It's all still the same. At a workspace level, it's slightly different. This is where you hold different parts of different dictionaries. So at the waste management level, calendars, these are all the different sets of calendars that we've got for waste management. Those can be controlled here. They can be manually shared to projects or automatically shared. And you can see all the different types of dictionaries that you've got at this level. Defaults and options, that can be set at the workspace level as well. So different parts of the organization, when they create new projects, will by default get different sets of settings for new activities and field labels. Things might be called things slightly differently in different parts of a business. So you have that ability to control it at all the different levels. Okay. You can import and export projects from OPC as well. And that's done if I view all the workspaces and say, just to explain it here, when you're importing data into P6, you'll find that the data gets populated, so any resources get put into the single resource dictionary. That's not the case, as we've said previously, with OPC. So I've got a section here in our instance for importing any data. So this is a separate area that any projects that get imported, any resources, any calendars will only go into this workspace. They won't get populated out across the entire system. So there is, in theory, no need to have lots of separate instances VPPM because it separates them out within OPC. You don't need to have that. So that's a completely different step change there, which I think's a really good one to be able to have. Okay, I've covered an awful lot of functionality there within the tool. Hopefully some of that has been of some use. If I just go back there, we did have a couple of questions that came through before. I think I've answered those already. We've not had any come back, but feel free to contact me afterwards to ask any questions. One was on the timesheet functionality and the cost of progressing licenses. So with people out in the field, they are more likely to have a handheld device. It's obviously Android, Apple technology, and there is handheld applications. Sorry, I forgot my words there. The applications are available for mobile technology, and those progressing licenses at 12, I think they're currently $12 per user per month. They will enable the user to have access to their tasks on the activities. It'll give them access to progress the activities, access to documentation, collaboration, etc. So they will be well and truly plumbed into the system as well. They've got the ability to upload photos, annotate documentation, etc. So that's all on the timesheet license. And that also answers the other question we had about handheld devices. Yep, they are available. Apple and Android are available, and you get those progress licenses for that as well. So all that's left is for me to say thank you for attending today. Thank you for downloading the video if you've done this after the event. We've covered an awful lot there. There is going to be additional webinars on workflows, on reports, to go into those in a lot more detail. But if you've got any other questions, my email is there. Feel free to get in contact. And thank you for joining me today.